more about area businesses, agencies, and events.
It's what's going on right now.
This is Spotlight.
All right. Good morning, everyone, and happy Wednesday to you. This is, of course, a Wednesday morning, and that means Spotlight here on 1480 WHBC. And joining us in just a few minutes will be Joe Podalecki, and he is with the Canton Cemetery Association and North Lawn and West Lawn cemeteries. You may be very familiar with those names, very historical places here in Stark County, and we've got a lot to talk about this morning. I had a really nice chance to sit down with Joe and some other members of his staff a little bit ago, and really have talk about some things. And obviously, we know that talking about such things can be a little bit tough, and awkward at times, but it's extremely important. So we're gonna get to that. Let me tell you, first of all, before we go to Joe, that we are live on Facebook right this very moment, and you can check us out there on our Facebook page. Just like our page at 1480 WHBC. Also, we are live on our YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, News Talk 1480 WHBC as well. All right, we are going to bring Joe in right now. He is with us this morning, and as I said, we have so many different things to talk about. Joe, welcome this morning, first of all.
Well, thank you, Pam, for having me. It's a great opportunity to be able to talk to the community and let them give them some insight about Canton Cemetery Association.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, I said just a few minutes ago that I had a chance to meet with you, and we've talked, and there's no denying that it can be an awkward situation when people are talking about, burials and pre-planning and all of those things, but it's extremely important, and it's actually a very unselfish act for family members, right?
Oh, absolutely, because it makes such a difference when they already have everything planned. And then that unfortunate time comes when they pass and their family can come into the cemetery and they don't have to make any decisions about anything. They don't have to worry, is this the right thing to do? Is this what mom or dad wanted? It's all laid out in front of them already, and they just have to, sign what we have as a service authorization for us to do the service, and that's it. Otherwise, it can be dramatic.
And I know that we're going to spend a lot of time talking about green burial today and some other things. But before we do that, let's talk about history. We could probably do a whole show on the history of, North Lawn and West Lawn cemeteries, and the Canton Cemetery Association. But just kind of give us a little background information.
Right. Well, of course, it all started at West Lawn in 1859. And all the movers and shakers of the time decided that Canton needed a community cemetery. And the interesting thing about it was that once it was established, it initially became more a park than a cemetery. Of course, it was used as a cemetery, but people in the city would gather there on Sunday afternoons. They'd have picnics. There's people coming in on their horse and carriage, because this was 1859, and just kind of enjoyed it as a community activity where people could meet. There was no social media, right? So everyone got a chance to do that. So that's how it started, and then it just evolved from there. And some of the the industrialists, the politicians that eventually became interned there, Mr. Timken, Mr. Hoover, Altman, so the history there and the families that established that, it's incredible history for Canton. Those are the people that really laid the foundation for Canton to become, a great city like it is.
Yeah, I mean, taking a little stroll through West Lawn is a history lesson in itself, not to mention the picturesque part of it, but just the learning about the past, I think, is pretty darn awesome.
It is. And of course, President McKinley, his tomb is there. But there's, I don't know how many people realize this, but right at the 4th Street entrance is the receiving vault that they used for the president, to hold his body there while they were building the memorial. And we've put a lot of effort, especially during the last year, and we're going to still do more this year to really improve the appearance of things and really clean things up. So we're putting a lot of effort into that. And also, we look to the community. Anyone who wants to assist can really help as well.
Yeah, I was going to say that's people. There are a lot of people that are interested in preserving that history. And if they, like you said, if they want to help, they should just contact you if they want to make donations or things like that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that because we have a perpetual fund. We're a nonprofit. Matter of fact, we're the only nonprofit in the very left area. And so be a little more difficult for us to maintain that, but we've been moving forward on that and intend to continue. But help we receive, it would be great.
And what about North Lawn Cemetery right there on Cleveland Avenue? Fill us in about that a little bit.
Right. Well, moving ahead to 1929, this was established. It was formerly a farm, and occasionally, believe it or not, if we're out in the cemetery digging, we'll come across farm equipment that was buried in the ground. And so that's a little bit interesting. But it's beautiful. We think beautiful cemeteries in the city. And we do have a lot of trees, which unfortunately took kind of a hit a couple of weeks ago. We lost some really big trees, but we're in the process of cleaning that up. We apologize for the inconvenience, particularly at West Lawn. We just didn't want anyone to go in there when we felt it could possibly be a hazard for people. That's why we had that closed for a couple of days, but it's open now, and we continue to do cleanup. But yes, so this cemetery was established, and it's in the other towards North Canton, of course, and has grown over the years, and will continue to grow. The nice thing about it is we have space to continue to expand, and so we'll be able to be a resource for the community for years to come.
All right, we're going to take our first break right now, but when we come back, let's start the discussion about green burial, because I had never heard of this until I met with you, but it was one of the most intriguing things I'd ever seen, and I think a lot of folks will be interested in it. So again, we'll take our break, and we come back, we'll talk more with Joe Podolecki with the Canton Cemetery Association. And again, we are live on Facebook right now, also on our YouTube channel. So you can join us there for Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
Kenny and JT.
Kenny and JT show coming to you immediately following Guardians baseball today.
Hi, this is the voice of the Guardians, Tom Hamilton. These guys are signed through the end of the year, so you better deal with it. Kenny and JT on News Talk 1480 WHBC.
We all have 206 things in common. Our bones keep us up and moving. And Cleveland Clinic Mercy Hospital orthopedic specialists care about every single one of them. From the tip of your finger to a brand new hip, our orthopedic experts will keep you moving. For every bone and every breakthrough, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic Mercy Hospital. Don't delay. Visit cantonmercy.org/ortho.
It's time for this week's Progressive Power Buy. Brought to you by Progressive Chevrolet on Hills and Dales Road in Massillon. Each week, Progressive Chevrolet offers huge savings on one special vehicle on the lot. But don't get it twisted. These deals are worth hustling for.
Hi, it's Craig Sanders from Progressive Chevrolet in Massillon. Right now, we have a brand new 2023 Chevy Silverado Crew Cab 4x4. It's $7,000 off MSRP. The last advertised power buy was purchased fast. So get this one before it's gone. Stock number 23036.
Offer can't be combined with any other offer. All rebates to dealer. Dealer contribution may affect consumer cost. Additional fees not included. Offer ends April 30th, 2023.
Now that's a Progressive power buy. Get down to Progressive Chevrolet to get this great deal. Be ready to head down to Massillon when you hear the next Progressive power buy.
At Sleep Outfitters, we've been helping our guests find sleep solutions to fit their body and their budget for 40 years. We offer a huge selection of top brands like Sealy, Tempur-Pedic, and Stearns & Foster. Whether you're a side, back, or stomach sleeper, if you wake up hot in the night or achy in the morning, our sleep experts will help you find the right mattress for a better night's sleep. With guaranteed low prices and free delivery and setup, let Sleep Outfitters find a custom sleep solution for you. Find your store today at sleepoutfitters.com.
Since 1981, Grassmaster Lawn Care Services have been turning lawns into masterpieces and wants you to know who's who on the Grassmaster crew.
Hi, this is Don. I've been with Grassmaster for 7 seasons. What I enjoy most about the company is the personal relationship I have with my customers, knowing who they are, talking to them about their lawns, trying to control the weeds, making the lawns nice and green. And I'd love to have the opportunity to do the same for you.
For more, go to thegrassmaster.com.
Are you frustrated with the cost of prescription drugs? By now, you know that your insurance price isn't always the best price on your medication. The new Health Matters drug plan is a simple, easy way to save money at your local medicine center pharmacy. No need to visit GoodRx or Single Care, disclose your private information, or print out coupons. Just talk to one of our friendly staff members and ask for the best price. It is that easy. Medicine Center Pharmacy with locations in Canton, Louisville, Minerva, and New Philadelphia, and online at medshoprx.com.
Tune in each Saturday at 8:35 a.m. for the Money Matters radio show. Hosts Bob Foudy and David Ryan help you make your money matter. Learn how today's economy, debt levels, and policies affect your hard-earned money. You worked hard to earn that money, and now it's time to watch it grow. Tune in to the Money Matters radio show every Saturday morning at 8:35 a.m. to learn how to make your money matter. To speak to Bob Foudy or Dave Ryan about your money matters, call New Horizon Financial Group in Canton at 330-499-1915.
This is Mike Frazier, Senior Pastor at Canton Baptist Temple. I would like to personally invite you to worship with us at 10:15 this Sunday morning in our worship center located at 515 Whipple Avenue in Canton, Ohio. If you cannot be with us in person, please tune in to our broadcast right here on WHBC at 8:30 on Sunday mornings. For more information about our ministries, you can visit us at cantonbaptist.org. We look forward to meeting you soon.
Easy Cater presents We Got Your Back. Up Singers.
So I ordered barbecue for a 20-person client meeting. Easy Cater calls and says, "Hi, Sarah, you probably need more food for that many people. Want us to add it for you?" Doing it for you. I say, "Yes, please." Yes. Turns out they were right. Good thing they asked, because Joyce's meeting notes can be pretty sassy when she's hungry. Look out.
Client meetings. Easy Cater has your back with over 100,000 restaurants. Order 24/7 on easycater.com and know
We got your back.
Now back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
And welcome back, everyone, to News Talk 1480 WHBC. It is our Spotlight program this morning. I'm Pam Cook with you, and I have Joe Podolecki with me from the Canton Cemetery Association, North Lawn Cemetery, West Lawn Cemetery, both very well known in this community and have been around for such a very, very long time. But there is a new innovative thing that we want to talk about this morning, Joe, the green burial. And I don't know where you want to start. Maybe we want to talk a little bit about exactly what green burial is. But I found it very, very interesting.
All right. Well, I think I'd like to start just by giving a little bit of information about traditional burials and the potential they have for damaging our soil. in urban land, of course, consuming urban land with the contents of a cemetery, which is 4.3 million gallons of embalming fluid, 1.6 million tons of concrete, and 64,000 tons of steel every year. And also, the average cremation produces 535 pounds of carbon dioxide. So that's the equivalent of you getting in your car and driving 609 miles. Wow. So that's kind of thing that right now, a traditional burial produces. So with that in mind and looking forward, Canton Cemetery Association established a green burial site, and it's certified by the Green Burial Council, which is very important because they set guidelines and regulations for what is an acceptable true green burial, which is what we do. And that option is, like you mentioned, very not only unusual for people, but don't have a clear understanding of what that means. So those are some of the things we can talk about today and help educate people about what that means. So
yeah, I think there are a lot of people.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. There are a lot of people out there who, are very, very, like you just mentioned, all the things that affect the environment. And it's important to a lot of folks to maybe protect that. So this goes hand in hand, obviously. But go ahead, continue.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people are under the impression that you have to be embalmed, like that's a requirement, which technically it's not. But a lot of times it depends on how long it takes for, from the time someone passes, excuse me, to the time that the actual burial takes place. But in a green burial, you do not have to be embalmed. You do not have to have a casket. You can just be wrapped in a shroud and lowered into the ground. But also, you can be cremated. So that's still an option. But you would need to use what we Himalayan salt urn or a mud urn. So those will dissolve into the ground, along with your cremains, which is really the objective. So that everything goes back into the ground. And if you think about this, prior to war, that's the way people were buried. And that goes back thousands of years. So it's like we're going back and not doing new. We're bringing something forward that was done prior to the newly established way, which is mostly 20th century for the most part, but also goes back, into the 1800s after the Civil War.
It's very simple, and it's very, I don't know. I just felt like, people have a fear of being embalmed or a fear of being, put into a casket, something like that, but this is very simple and calming. At least that's how it felt for me. People who have shown interest in it to you, what kinds of things have they expressed?
Well, of course, one of the first things that comes to mind is the environment. So a lot of people are more environmentally conscious today, and they want to be able to contribute to that, and usually relate something along the lines of, in my death, I want to be able to also contribute to the betterment of the world. That's, I think, the primary reason. But then it also goes like to what you said. People necessarily don't want to be embalmed, or they may be afraid of being cremated, even though those, that isn't rational, because of course, you're deceased. You wouldn't feel any of these things or know that anyway, but you still have a sense of your own body and what you've been in this body all these years. So naturally you project out what that you think that might be like. So, and we want to accommodate people in that way to help them feel comfortable in that regard, that they're doing the right thing for themselves and their family. So, speaking of family, that sometimes doesn't agree with families. So you're going in a non-traditional way. And I've had people tell me, I like this idea, but I need to talk about it with my children. And really, if you think about that, it's your life. It's your decision to make. And so I don't know, it's the best thing for people to be influenced by other people's thinking of what they think is best for you. You have to do what's best for you. And but we also plenty of options. I really believe this going forward is going to be really the choice for burial for people now. I kind of think of it as the way cremation was 20 or 30 years ago. And if you look at statistics, it's gone up exponentially, especially in the last 10 years, cremation has. And I think green burial is going to get some traction and go in that same direction in the coming years. Especially, I think, somewhat our generation, baby boomers, but going back to the generation before us, and then before them, millennials and Gen Z, I think they're going to look at things differently and look at this as a better option to all the other concrete and steel and all the other things that we talked about. And you're right, it's a simple burial, and if you think about it, it cuts across even cultural mores for people that think that, well, this isn't the right thing to do, or that's not the right thing to do. This is so simple. Again, it could fit into any religious belief or anything in that regard culturally.
I also want, and we'll talk about this a little bit more too as well. We'll have to take a break here in a couple of minutes, but when you mentioned about your decision, how do you guarantee that your decision, the decision you make, is the one that your family will follow?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. And the state of Ohio has a form that can be downloaded and signed and filled by the cemetery, by the funeral director, that will be sure that they adhere to your plan, because that can happen where families will come in and change the whole plan that the deceased had in mind when they put the whole thing together, which is really unfortunate, but we're powerless to prevent that unless you have a document or a legal document that an attorney maybe could even put together for that individual to secure what they really want to do.
Yeah, because I think that's important. A lot of people want to be sure, they're not going to make the plans that they want unless they are absolutely certain that that's what's going to happen. So that's an important thing for them.
Right. When you think about the difficulty sometimes these decisions are for people, and then when they finally make that decision, and it's interesting because you can see the change in them from the time they come into the cemetery to the time they leave. It's a sense of relief that I have this done. I always remind them, you don't have to do it again. That's it. It's over. You did it, and you can just be comfortable with your decision. So you don't want to lose that, what they've felt good with. So.
All right, we'll take a quick break for the news, and when we come back, we'll talk more about green burial, what it is, what it means, how that all works, and we'll talk more about some other things that they offer at the Canton Cemetery Association as well. Stay tuned for Spotlight right here on 1480 WHBC.
Keep your water softener running smoothly with ProPix DuraCube Softener Salt from Verndale Water Experts. Stock up now on premium DuraCube salt and take advantage of our buy 10, get 1 free special. Call Verndale Water Experts today.
Verndale's Water Center.
WHBC AM Canton, reliable as ever on News Talk 1480 WHBC.
From the News Talk 1480 WHBC newsroom in Summit County, the man suspected of murdering 3 men has been indicted on several charges. 58-year-old Elias Godino is charged with 6 counts of aggravated murder, 3 counts of murder, and 4 counts of kidnapping. It's all tied to the March 10th incident when police in Copley and Akron found 3 bodies bound and gagged in 2 different locations. A 4th victim was also bound and gagged but survived. Some CPAP machines are being recalled. The FDA has issued the recall for certain Philips machines. The foam inside the units meant to reduce noise could break off and enter the airway, causing obstructions. It prevents the device from working the way it should. In 2021, after the first recall, Philips tried to fix some of the machines, but the repaired ones have also been recently recalled, prompting the FDA warning. President Joe Biden launched a 4-day trip to Ireland yesterday. The visit began in Belfast, Northern Ireland, where the president marks the 25th anniversary of the peace deal known as the Good Friday Agreement. The president then moving on to the Republic of Ireland, where he will address Parliament in Dublin. A longtime kitchen staple could be going away. According to officials with Tupperware, the food storage company may be going out of business. Company issued a filing last week saying it has substantial doubt about the company's ability to continue as a growing concern. Tupperware has embarked on a journey to turn around the operations and marks a critical step in addressing their capital and liquidity position. The CEO says the company's doing everything in its power to mitigate the impacts of recent events. They're taking immediate action to seek additional financing and to try and address their financial position. In sports, the Guardians, a rough night against the Yankees, losing to New York 11-2. They have a day game today. Pregame is at 12:35. First pitch set for 1:10 this afternoon. Right here on 1480 WHBC. I'm Pam Cook.
Your severe weather station, News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Here's your AccuWeather forecast. We'll have partly sunny, breezy, warm weather continuing for the rest of the day. High this afternoon, 79. Dry, breezy conditions can lead to an elevated fire risk. Clear skies tonight, low 52. Mostly sunny Thursday, high 78. And partly cloudy Friday, high 80. This weekend, mostly cloudy Saturday, but showers and thunderstorms on Sunday. I'm Holly Holdren for News Talk 1480 WHBC.
The concert movie experience continues with Purple Rain, Friday, April 21st at the Canton Palace Theater. Celebrate the life and talent of the one and only Prince on Canton's largest movie screen. Get your tickets today to see Purple Rain at cantonpalacetheater.org.
Craftsmanship and quality are vital for premium cigars, and at Cheap Tobacco, we recognize this importance. Our huge selection is hand-picked and consists of only the best cigars made with the finest tobacco leaves with utmost care. You can expect a flavorful and precisely crafted cigar from us. Come, experience the difference at Cheap Tobacco, where we offer a big-time selection with small-town values. This product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Cheap Tobacco, an Alliance, Ravenna, Canton, and Akron.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing and me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is every day.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Now back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
And welcome back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC. I'm Pam Cook with you this morning. And again, don't forget, you can watch us live on Facebook or check out our Facebook page for the video later on if you have a chance. Just go and like our page at 1480 WHBC. We are also live on our YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel Just search News Talk 1480 WHBC and you'll find it. So today's Spotlight program is with Joe Potolicki with the Canton Cemetery Association, and bring Joe back in. And North Lawn Cemetery, West Lawn Cemetery. We've been talking about the history, and we've kind of been focusing right now on green burials. And so, Joe, talk about, I believe that the green burial site you have is at North Lawn. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. It's at North Lawn. It's called Emerald Meadows, and that it covers about an acre or so. And there's one important part of green burials to keep in mind is that there are no chemicals involved in this. So there's no pesticides or fertilizers that are used in that area, or for that matter, that we use throughout any part of our cemetery, because actually those are some of the biggest contributors to pollution overall through agriculture. So, but that is a big part of green burial. We don't do that. We also provide what's called a field stone as a marker. And that's marks every grave. So it's about the size of about an 8.5 by 12 sheet of paper, but it does have the individual's name on there and the date they were born and the date that they pass. And so they can be identified. But we don't cut the grass but once a year. So you'll find if you came to the cemetery and wanted to take a look at that site, it's going to have tall grass because we don't cut it. And also, we're going to start taking a look at making it a little bit more colorful. We want to get some little landscaping done there, get some flowers, wildflowers, because that's just a part of someone being in a comfortable situation in a beautiful setting.
Talk about the involvement of the families, when the burial takes place, when all of that happens. What's that process like? How does that go?
Well, it's not that much different than a traditional burial. But let's say, for example, that the body is in a casket. So we're not saying you can't use a casket, but it needs to be a casket that's made of no exotic wood. So you'd be looking at pine or just some simple wood like that. And or it could be wicker, it could be bamboo, but whatever, and no metal. So there can't be any screws or metal handles or nails or anything like that. And there are companies that produce these caskets, so they're not that unusual to find. And so they would, and if they're in a shroud, they would be on what's called a tray. And so that body would be removed from the hearse, whether it's on a tray or whether it's in a casket, biodegradable casket, and then lowered into the ground by hand through the pallbearers that would be sort of on straps, and the body's lowered into the ground. The grave is a little more shallow than the standard grave by a foot or so, and then the dirt is placed back, and the body, the family is there just like they would in a traditional burial. There, if you really don't want to have to see the body being buried, and some people don't want to witness that, you don't have to, but and we don't encourage you one way or the other. That's simply the family's decision. So that option exists as well.
So when we talk green burials, are we talking something that is on par with a regular burial as far as costs go, or is it less expensive, or how does that work as well?
Well, we have a lot of options at the cemetery, so I would say that probably falls somewhere in the middle. It's certainly not our highest or most expensive, and it's not our least expensive. But when you consider that you don't need a vault and you don't need a casket, and you're eliminating even a marker, because that comes with the burial package, you're talking about a significant amount of money that you do not have to spend. And so in that regard, it probably may fall even a bit closer to our lesser expensive. Mm-hmm.
How long has green burials been happening, across the United States? Have they been around for a little while, or?
They have 10 to 15 years, I would say. And that's around the time we established ours. But again, it's a matter of education. It's a matter of people being aware of it. There are people that still come in today that have never heard of this, when I bring it up, they find it intriguing, even though they may not be interested in it, they find it extremely intriguing that we even do that. I also want to point out that you can be embalmed, but it's a special embalming fluid that is organic and doesn't have any toxins in it. And that's something that I think funeral directors are going to have to be more familiar with going forward. And it may not be in their wheelhouse right now or something that they want to do, but I think they're going to find that in years to come, they're going to need to be aware of all of the little nuances involved with this.
Yeah, and I guess that would bring the question, I didn't even think of that, is, if you wanted to have a visitation at a funeral home prior or whatever, you could still do that even if you were going to have the green burial?
You can, yes, you can still do that. That's right. So, and then, again, that's something, that the family wants to talk to the funeral director about, and I highly recommend all the funeral directors become more familiar with it and offer that information and knowledge to the families when they ask a question.
So let's do a little myth busting. What would you say are some of the biggest myths that people believe, about burials in general, or things like that?
Well, I guess if you're looking at myth busting from a green burial standpoint, it's, well, okay, how long is my body going to last? Like you just brought that up. Can we have any kind of showing? But that type of embalming will last up to 2 weeks. So you don't have to worry about that. And, body fluids, for example, there's a concern that these body fluids are going to go into the ground and leach into the water system and contaminate the water system. And that isn't true at all. And there's not my opinion. That's been researched by the World Health Organization and other medical groups that have done research on this. And there's out there for people, if they want to look into it, that there is no contamination like that. Also, that there's, I think, an idea that people have that they have to have a vault to be buried, and that's not required by the state either. And again, the idea that this isn't going to be acceptable in society and so forth, and I think that they would find that because of the movement towards a more environmentally conscious society, this is going to become more acceptable. So you can be viewed at a funeral home. Your body can be preserved. There are all ways you can really probably have just about everything you'd want to have in a traditional funeral, but go in a green direction. And again, half of this story belongs with the funeral directors, so they also need to be a party and a part to this and understand where we're headed with this and why.
Yeah, so good to set it up ahead of time for sure.
Right, absolutely. So, and there's probably, you talk about myths that people are thinking of, things that you and I never would have ever dreamt of thinking of, and we have to address those things too. So it's not like we have a complete list of things where people are going to come in and say, well, this is what I don't understand, or this is that, because you'd be amazed the questions people have or the things that they think of related to this that we can set their mind at ease about.
If someone listening right now would like to come over and take a look at the green burial site at North Lawn, can they do that?
Oh, absolutely. Sure. We would, we take individuals by appointment. So we highly recommend calling and setting an appointment. And we'd be glad to go through all the details and also provide the choices available throughout the cemetery. If green burial didn't fit into what their idea of for themselves would be, we can certainly show them the options. We're here Monday through Friday, 9 to 4. And what we're really all about here, and especially because we're a nonprofit, I really want to emphasize that this is about education. This isn't about you coming in here and we're going to try and sell you whatever we think you want. We want to educate you so you make the decision about what you want, and then we can help set that up for you. And that's, I want people to understand that. And there's nothing to be, I I know there's fear involved, but once I think you come in the door and you start talking and you understand, the greatest way to eliminate fear is understanding what you're doing, and just like anything else. And that's what we want to help you do.
And Joe, you just took the words out of my mouth, because yeah, I mean, when I came to visit you, I was nervous about it. I thought, oh my gosh, questions and I don't know and all of those things. But I walked out of there thinking, wow, there's just learning it and knowing it. That's a whole sense of comfort in itself. And then taking the next step to make the decision that makes it all that much easier.
Right, absolutely. And if financing is a problem, we have ways to help people with that as well, to make that, an easier way for them, to make it more affordable for them. And be glad to talk to people about that as well.
All right, we're going to take our final break, and we'll come back and recap some things and talk a little bit more about the Canton Cemetery Association, North Lawn Cemetery, the historic West Lawn Cemetery, and how you can help there as well. We'll do all of that on Spotlight right here on 1480 WHBC.
High school sports. This is the right place. News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Carpet Time's a place to buy. Go there today. You'll cheer and rave at the money you save. Buy at Carpet Time.
Hi, I'm Joel Primack, and here at Carpet Time, we're having a huge store-wide sale. Save on carpet, hundreds of colors and styles. Save on floors, wood, laminate, vinyl, ceramic, and more. Save up to 30 to 50% and pay no interest for 1 full year. Here at Carpet Time, we don't meet competition, we make it.
Buy at Carpet Time.
Visit us at our Perry Maslin store on the corner of Lincoln Way and Genoa, or at our Belden Village store across from Red Lobster. Like us on Facebook or online at carpettime.com. One word, one T, that's carpettime.com.
Carpet Time's a place to buy. Go there today. You'll cheer and rave at the money you save. Buy at Carpet Time.
We've been fooled before, Northeast Ohio. Spring pretends to arrive only for winter to roar back in. But rest assured, it truly is just around the corner, and the summer heat will quickly follow. The last thing on your mind right now is probably your air conditioner. But in reality, now is the perfect time to think about it, and Crown Heating and Cooling is here to help. If you have an older, inefficient air conditioner, or maybe you don't have one at all, give Crown a call today and discover how truly affordable a new Carrier system can be. Crown is proud and excited to offer up to $1,550 in rebates with Carrier Cool Cash on qualifying purchases of an energy-efficient Carrier heating and or cooling system. From now through May 26th, enjoy increased comfort and energy savings all year round. Or if your current air conditioner needs a tune-up to ensure peak performance, Crown Heating and Cooling will help with that too. With Crown, estimates are always free. Call today and let them show you how much you can save when you turn to the Carrier experts at Crown. Call 330-499-4988 or on the web at crowngroupohio.com. Ohio license number 27133.
Call Crown Heating and Cooling.
Since 1981, Grassmaster Lawn Care Services have been turning lawns into masterpieces and want you to know who's who on the Grassmaster crew.
I'm Mike. As service manager at Grassmaster, I can honestly say I get to work on some incredible lawns. Whether it be your everyday average home lawn or the award-winning home of the Akron Rubber Ducks Canal Park, every day I get to work with great people, all with the same goal, to have the best yard on the block. It doesn't matter if you have a small lawn or a professional ball field. My mission is to make sure each property we take care of will reach its full potential.
For more, go to thegrassmaster.com.
This is Mike Frazier, Senior Pastor at Canton Baptist Temple. I would like to personally invite you to worship with us at 10:15 this Sunday morning in our worship center located at 515 Whipple Avenue in Canton, Ohio. If you cannot be with us in person, please tune in to our broadcast right here on WHBC at 8:30 on Sunday mornings. For more information about our ministries, you can visit us at cantonbaptist.org. We look forward to meeting you soon.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/FREE. ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Now back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
And again, our final segment on Spotlight on 1480 WHBC today. Go to our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and you can check back and listen to our entire hour this morning. We have been talking with Joe Podolecki with the Canton Cemetery Association and North Lawn Cemetery, West Lawn Cemetery, and Green Burial, a big part of that. But Joe, we would be remiss if we didn't mention that you guys have a lot of options. That, the Green Burial is just one thing. There's a long list of things that you guys can do.
Oh, absolutely. And the choices, if we just talked about cremation for a few minutes, you can certainly do a burial, with cremation. We have niches that you can have. They're indoors, some are outdoors. And a niche is simply a small crypt, I guess you might say, where you can actually put an urn in that niche, and it's preserved for as long as the world's going to be around. What's interesting, too, when you talk about cremation, we have people call sometimes that just found grandma and grandpa in a shoebox in the closet and want to know what can they do to preserve them because they're concerned. And if you think about that, and I know people sometimes like to leave the ashes in their home, but what if your house is a fire or some other way, there's a flood or something could eliminate those cremains permanently. You don't have that anymore. So we can preserve them permanently, and you don't have to worry about that. And I think that's something people need to think about when they do cremation, because a lot of times they'll say, well, we're going to just hold on to mom, but you don't know what's going to happen generations down the road. And then, of course, then the other option is a traditional burial, where you can have extravagant as you like or not, and make it quite simple. And we have a different varieties of graves, whether it's at West Lawn or North Lawn, that people can choose from, and a whole range of prices as well for affordability. And sometimes it doesn't even mean affordability. You could be maybe someone who's quite wealthy, but you don't really want a fancy funeral. You just want something simple. So there's that option. Sometimes people will come in and they'll purchase a family plot with 6 or 8 graves for the entire family. And that's always an option. And a monument that goes with that, and then you have all of your relatives in one place, and that's nice. But if you did that 25 years ago, and now you have 3 kids, and one lives in California, and one lives in Florida, and one lives in Maine, and you're still here, then you have these graves, and what are you going to do with them, right? So that's something that I think people are well-meaning when they set those things up, but then not thinking ahead that. And we're living in a much more mobile society than we did years ago, too, when those family plots were purchased. Another option is a crypt, where there's an indoor mausoleum. We have 2 mausoleums. A New Rose is one, and a chapel is the other, and it's literally a chapel where you can have a service if you have one of the crypts or one of the niches in the cemetery, in those mausoleums. And of course, there's different ranges of those as well, depending on what you want. And people don't realize that sometimes a crypt can actually be more affordable than a full burial. So those are other things you can look at, because there's a lot included in a crypt and a lot that you don't need with a crypt, like a vault. But on the other hand, too, people say, well, I'm claustrophobic, so I'm not sure that I want to be in a crypt closed up in there. And then they'll say, even though I know that doesn't make sense because I won't know I'm in there, but it's still, you're projecting what you're thinking now. So those are other options too. So there's price options, there's burial options, cremation, different ways to go with that.
And all of this, I know, brings up a lot of questions. And so they can go to your website, Canton Cemetery Association. It's cantoncemetery.org, correct?
That's right. Also, I just want to say that we can do group presentation if groups want to call, and I'd be glad to come out and do that. And I'd be able to possibly a tour in the fall as well. Make contact with
All right. Well, we thank you for coming on today, Joe. Appreciate it. A lot of great information.
Okay. Thank you, Pam.